Wow. Yeah. And sometimes you need to just make that one better choice, and make it more gradual so you don't have to do something so drastic. And then you're getting headaches and withdrawals and you're hangry and cranky. And, just make one better choice. Swap out one soda for water if you're drinking 3 a day, go down to 2. And it doesn't have to be something so drastic, because then you may just quit if it's too much. And, I've had clients come in, they're like, I'm going to quit smoking, quit drinking, start exercising, but, and they're setting themselves up for failure. So pick one thing, the thing you're ready to start with, and start there. And, give yourself some grace, do the best you can, get accountability, get support, use an app, get a group, something to keep you accountable and keep going. Find out what really motivates you, set up some rewards. All those little things, they really do make a difference, and they help. And your body is so amazing that it's going to respond. And when you start to feel better, sitting in your truck and your clothes are getting looser and your brain health is better and you're more alert and you're sleeping better. And even inflammation will go down in your eyes and you'll be able to see better. And our bodies are so incredible. Your joints don't hurt and you bounce out of bed and you're rested. Your body's going to respond when you do something great. And also the other way, if you go out and get drunk one night, when you wake up the next morning, you're going to pay for it. Your body's going to respond. But when you start noticing like, wow, I think I'm even happier. Like there's a bounce in my step because I weigh less and I feel better and I'm sleeping good. That's the cool thing about how amazing your body is and how well it responds.
Hey, yo, welcome to the Godcast.
Nothing is as it seems. Nothing. I mean, literally, nothing is as it seems.
We took authority for truth instead of truth as our authority.
The great deception is still to come.
Not every human you see is human.
A lot of us equate our value in life to the things that we have or the things we're able to acquire. And not the things that we're able to pass on.
But just sharing this story allows those people who are just starting out to recognize that there's somewhere to go.
Do you find solidarity within the differences, or do you find division within the similarities?
And it was a battle for my soul.
Worship in a mosh pit.
It's not if you buck means the gospel. What's up now?
Welcome to Godcast,
the Goodness Over Darkness podcast.
Here's your host, Emmanuel Kingman.
It's showtime. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Godcast, the Goodness Over Darkness podcast. I am your host, Emmanuel Kingman, and Mimi is not here with me on this one either. We have a blank chair over there. She's taking a breather as she's had a newborn baby for the last several days, but he went home to his mother and father today, but she still needed to just decompress because it's been a lot. So on today's episode, I had on returning special guest Kelli Calabrese. And Kelli, if you guys go back to episode 99, we went over counseling, marriage counseling. She's a Christian counselor for women, divorced women, or married women who are possibly going to get divorced. So she tries to help fix the relationship before it gets to that point. But she also has so many different science degrees and certifications in nutrition, exercise, so many different things, sleep, aging, so many different things that she covers, and that's what we got into today. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. I want to thank you all for being here, and if you would like to support the show, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, rate and review, share it around to somebody. Whatever you can do to freely support the show, that would greatly grow the show and benefit us so much. So thank you for all those who have done it, and thank you for continuing to support us. If you would like to financially support us, you could go to patreon.com/goodnessoverdarkness, and there you can sign up to become a Patreon member. We got several options that you guys can pick from. And Food Forest Abundance is we are ambassadors of them. We have partnered with them, and you guys can get your own Food Forest Abundance. You can get your own blueprint, and you can also become an ambassador. I have the 2 different links down in the description, so go check that out. The special code is Godcast for anyone who's looking to become a client of Food Forest Abundance or get their own Food Forest Abundance. And anyone looking to be an ambassador, I think it's down there with it ends in goodness. So go check out all that, and it will help the show greatly. So I want you guys to go check out our guest's website. She is at kellicalabrese.com, and there you can find out all her stuff. Send her an email, kelly at kellicalabrese.com, and just ask any questions, and she'll do her best to give you an answer. She'll get back to you as soon as she can. If you want to be part of the Bible study, send me an email with the subject Bible study, and I will include you in the list for that week. Stay tuned at the end of the episode for the outro, and without further ado, here is Kelli Calabrese.
Welcome to the Godcast. Cross up on my back, I'm slaying demons. It don't matter what you call that. Searching for the truth, facts are facts until they fall flat. It's looking like a story, man, it's all cap. But it's goodness over darkness, it ain't all bad. I'm at my maker, but I was called back. Emmanuel, show my people they're under a spell. Heaven or hell is free will. I made my choice and now it's well with my soul. I pray the same for you as well. Welcome to the Godcast. Welcome to the Godcast.
Hello, everybody. On today's episode, I have on a returning fan favorite. She has over 30 degrees and certifications. She has authored 3 best-selling books and has appeared on multiple national TV networks. She is a woman of Christ and counsels women of divorce and married women who are on the brink of divorce to help them heal themselves and their relationships. Everyone, welcome Kelli Calabrese back to the show.
Hey, Todd. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for coming back on the show so soon. You were on episode 99, and if anyone hasn't checked out that episode, I highly suggest it. It was such a great conversation that I had to ask you back on because you have so much to talk about.
We had so much fun. I am so happy to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, so the last time that you were on, we covered divorce and trying to avoid divorce and the counseling and those types of topics. And tonight I really want to cover diet, exercise, nutrition, and sleep, and aging well, and all the things that go with that, because you are certified in many of these topics or categories, and I want to pick your brain about some of these different things.
Let's do it.
All right. So, aging well. You are a woman who's a little bit older than you look, and you have somehow been able to do this through diet, nutrition, exercise. Is this something that you can teach other people how to do?
100%. There's a category of study now called Nutrigenomics, and it really looked at nature versus nurture. So, of course, it helps to have good genes. And thankfully, in my family, the women, live to be long and they keep their hair and they're healthy and they probably do look a little bit younger. But a lot of it was also the nurture of how we kept a Mediterranean style diet and didn't drink and didn't smoke. And so, yes, if you can start out choosing good genes, then that would be most excellent. But even if your parents were obese, even if they were alcoholics, even if they had diabetes and all kinds of awful habits, the great news is you can totally overcome that with great habits.
Okay, so you said the Mediterranean diet. Is that a diet of your choice, or is that just something that you were brought up eating, that style of food?
Well, my mom is Italian and my grandparents came from Italy, so it was kind of inherent to their culture to have that kind of a diet, which in the Americanized way, you could be overfeeding on pasta and bread and all of that. So you have to, go back to the traditional Mediterranean diet, which is more, lean meats and fish and healthy grains and wholesome berries and vegetables and healthy fats like nuts and olive oil. So that's what I'm talking about, the original Mediterranean style diet that uses beans and all natural things.
Okay, it sounds a little like keto, where you're not necessarily trying to take in carbs the breads. You're not taking in those and pastas, but you're taking in the meat and the healthy fats. Is it similar to keto?
Not necessarily. I mean, Mediterranean actually does have a good amount of grains, but it's whole grains. So even the wheat that they use to make bread with is coming from a wholesome grain. It's not enriched the way we get a lot of our bread here in America. In fact, when you see enriched, it means that they have taken the nutritional value down so low that they had to enrich it with vitamins and minerals just to give it
Wow.
any nutritional value. So it really has to do with quality. So if you're having like quinoa and, roasted potatoes that are good quality, organic, then it's okay to have that. Our body does need carbs. So I'm not saying, don't eat carbs. And I'm not a big fan of eating a lot of fat, especially, like bacon fat or fats that are not healthy for you, trans fats and so on. So you need to really exercise common sense and just helps to ask yourself, okay, if this is going to pass my lips going into my body, is this the most wholesome, natural thing to put in me? Because your body then has to handle whatever you put in it. So you could actually take away from your body instead of nourishing your body if you're putting things in it that are of low nutritional value or even toxic, things that have trans fats and dyes and chemicals and hormones and steroids and all the artificial things that we see a lot in the grocery stores in those middle aisles, because your body needs enzymes and you've got to digest that then. So you have to really exercise common sense in asking yourself, how natural is this? Is this adding to my body or taking away from it?
Okay, that's always a good question to ask. Is this going to improve tomorrow, or is this going to decrease from whatever decisions they are? But with the diet specifically, we're in the Lent season. I gave up breads, pastas, and potatoes, which was like 90% of my diet. So at first I didn't go shopping for it. All of a sudden I like did it on a whim, and like the first 2 days I was like, I'm starving.
Yes.
I didn't properly prepare, but since then I have, obviously switched things from uh breakfast. I used to have just butter toast was something that would hold me over, and now I switched that to oatmeal with peanut butter in it, and it is I feel like it's filling me up more, but it's not necessarily keeping my hunger at bay in the same way that the butter toast did. It's very strange that I'm eating more, but I don't feel as bloated. Not that I was necessarily bloated, but I don't feel as big. I feel like if I'm looking in the mirror, that I may have lost an inch or two, and I'm not necessarily eating less, and I'm actually eating things that are more heavy, I guess you would say. But there is something that there is a very big difference in me in what I was eating before versus what I'm eating now. Is there a difference, scientifically speaking, when you're changing your body over from having carbs or just having, we'll say, bread and toast in the morning to having something healthier like oatmeal? Is there like something that's actually happening within my body that I'm not aware about?
Absolutely. So we need the carbs because they do satiate us. So they keep us full longer. They give us energy and it's part of the macronutrient. So we can't just eliminate an entire macronutrient category. There's proteins, carbs, and fats. That's what everything is made up of in some ratio. So for example, nuts are a healthy fat and there's a little bit of protein in there and there's a little bit of carb in there. Meat is mostly protein, but there's a little bit of fat in there and even less carbs in there. But anything real is made up of those three things. So if you're going to choose a carbohydrate, you want one that's not going to spike your blood sugar like a white bread would, but oatmeal is going to keep your blood sugar stable longer. And there is an adjustment period. So you can't, the average person can't go from the typical American diet to all of a sudden, in a day, switching everything over, and your body's just going to, automatically adjust. There is a, scale where it takes a little bit of time to get your gut healthy, to be able to absorb the things you're eating, to get the inflammation down in your body. So, it's like when people start taking a vitamin, they expect to feel something right away. It takes a little time, like it has to get in your system. So give your body a chance to stop whatever might have been harmful and then get used to something new that's actually healing and nourishing your body. So it's not like flip a switch and it happens, but it takes a little time. But your body's amazing. So you can get used to something in a pretty short amount of time. For example, intermittent fasting is something that is so healthy for so many reasons, and I'm happy to talk about it. But don't start from, you normally have breakfast at 6:30 in the morning, and now you're just going to have breakfast at 2 in the afternoon. Like go from 6:30 till 7, then from 7 to 7:30, and 7:30 push it till 9, and then eventually, if you start eating your first meal at 1, you won't start getting hungry until 1, but you can't in a day just try and change everything. So your body will get used to oatmeal and it will nourish you and it will keep you full. It's just a little bit of an adjustment period.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did do intermittent fasting and it was amazing. And I did, like you said, it was little by little. I was closing from the back end. I was, at nighttime, I was, okay, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And also, beginning of the day, it was, well, I didn't eat breakfast at the time, so that wasn't a big deal. But my lunch, I'd stopped eating around 11, 12 o'clock and pushed it until when I got home from work. So then I was eating from between like 2 and 10, or, like 4 and 10, 4 and 8 at one point. But I was eating 2 healthy meals, chicken, some rice, some vegetables, something like that, twice in that period. And I got to tell you, when I was exercising, I was bigger, I was stronger, I was faster, I had more energy. It was incredible that all of a sudden changing my diet like that, just I drastically, I was gaining and gaining, because at the gym, you hit a plateau after doing this same things for a while. You start to plateau, or you get that effect anyway. And then switching my diet, it just boom, I broke through walls in so many ways.
The intermittent fasting has so many benefits and it's even biblical, but basically you're looking at a feeding window and a fasting window. So let's say the average person eats breakfast at 7 and they eat dinner at 7. They might have a 12-hour window without eating, but a lot of people now are eating later into the night because they're sitting around, they're watching TV, they're snacking, they're stress eating. And so that feeding window is bigger and the fasting window is smaller, but it's during the fasting that the magic happens. That's when your body gets a chance to detoxify. That's when your hormones get regulated. So when you're talking about strength in the gym, that fasting increases your human growth hormone naturally. So you were getting stronger because your HGH went up, your cortisol goes down. So it helps to increase testosterone naturally, which obviously helps you out in the gym as well. It helps to increase the melatonin, which helps with sleep. And inflammation goes down because there's more time to get rid of that excess fluid and toxins. So it really is an incredible way to also help people lose weight, because you do typically wind up eating a little bit less. So you can't just go, okay, I'm going to eat between 2 and 10 and, gouge yourself with pizza and subs and cheesecake and beer. And you obviously have to be reasonable and you want to choose the healthiest thing that you can choose. And you usually wind up skipping a meal. And because of that, it's just natural that you're consuming less and you're going to lose some inches, lose some fat, and improve your body composition when you combine it with exercise. It's great for heart health. People who do intermittent fasting, that helps to starve any cancer cells. It's great for brain health, anti-aging. So many great benefits for intermittent fasting.
Okay. So you said anti-aging. How does it have anti-aging effects?
Yeah, so they've done studies in rats where they obviously can control in a lab what the rats eat or don't eat, and it increased their lifespan by up to 83%. So that's
Wow.
pretty significant. But what happens is, as Americans anyway, we tend to overfeed. I mean, if you look at the rates of obesity and how much people are having increased incidence of diabetes and cancer, and a lot of that comes from what we're putting in our bodies. So when you're putting less in, there's less assault on your body of all these chemicals and steroids and hormones and toxins that are in there, but it also gives your body a chance to handle what you eat. And overfeeding is inflammatory, and when your body's inflamed, you're aging your cells, and what's happening on the inside is happening on the outside. So if you were to look at the cells of someone who is a toxic person that's overfeeding on junk food, their cell edges are actually jagged. They're rigid and the cells are dark and they just kind of clump together and they're like vibrating, but they're not really doing anything productive. If you look at the cells of someone who does intermittent fasting, who's eating a clean Mediterranean style diet, you'll see that they're round, they're clear, they're bouncing, they're like these beautiful cells and they are younger. So every day cells are dying inside our body and new cells are forming, but it only can form by what we're putting into our body. So again, if it's overfed, stressed out, inflamed, it's going to show up on the outside in your skin, in the coloring, in wrinkles, in sun down. What can look like sun damage could actually be happening on the inside. So what's happening with what you see is also happening to your organs. So the intermittent fasting, it doesn't require a lot of behavior change, but by simplifying your lifestyle, it's also less stressful. It's one less meal to think about. So it's less money you're spending, less time, in the kitchen trying to figure out what to eat. And it gives you more time to relax, to meditate, to go for a walk. So those are all great lifestyle choices as well.
Yeah, and you can also prepare foods for yourself. Instead of eating at a certain time, you can prepare stuff for the future. You have, getting some fruits prepared. I know a lot of people that do the meal prep. They'll do one day is a meal prep, and they make 14 meals for themselves or whatever it may be the number. But it really does benefit you, and I have to get back on it. It is something that it's not too difficult when you think about it. Like if I eat from noon till 8 p.m., that seems pretty reasonable. And that's 8 hours of eating and 16 hours of not eating. So that's 16 hours is fasting. And I know that sometimes we get hungry or we feel like we're hungry. That's a major part is that we feel like we're hungry. So then we eat something, but it's actually, our stomach is actually like working the food that's already in there, right? And there's some kind of signal that's being sent off that our brains, for some reason, we think we're hungry when it's actually like eating the food that's already inside of you.
Yeah, most of the times when we're hungry, it's actually a signal for thirst.
Oh,
So
wow.
sometimes you can just drink water and it will take away the hunger. And there's things you can do that don't break your fast. So, for example, when I get up, I have warm water with lemon. It's a really good cleansing first thing to have. Then I might have a keto drink. So that keeps me in ketosis, which keeps me in the fat burning. Then I might have a little collagen drink, which again is not breaking the fast. It's just getting some collagen in, which helps with bone and skin and hair and nails. Then I might have some green tea. That doesn't break a fast. Then the next thing I might have is some aloe water or cucumber water or something, just keeping these liquids nourishing my body, but it's not enough calories to break the fast. And then by the time I'm ready to have a meal, it might be 1 or 2 o'clock. And that's when I'll have that Mediterranean style meal. So you don't have to starve and totally deprive yourself and certainly be drinking. I mean, you can go way longer without food than you can without water. So a lot of times when you think you're hungry, you're emotional, you're just doing it out of habit because you're used to walking in the door and open the refrigerator. It's just totally habit, or seeing the drive-through and just going through. But try drinking water or, aloe water, water with berries, cucumber, anything like that, and see if that takes the edge off.
That's interesting you say aloe water. I've been, for some reason, I've just been compelled to buy aloe vera water. I deliver to a lot of Mexican restaurants and little stores, and they have all sorts of different kinds of waters that I've never drank before. Coconut milk, which is, it's water essentially, but all these different things, and it's like the best drink I've ever had. This aloe vera water with honey in it, I think. It was
Yes.
the best thing I ever had, but it has like little jellies in it, and if you're not ready, it surprises you.
Yeah, yeah, you wanna shake it good, and it's better cold, and
Oh, yeah.
but it is great. I mean, things like that can help to, even fight cancer, but they're very nourishing, very hydrating, great for your skin, and they take away hunger.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. After drinking one of those and having like a little bag of peanuts, it was like I had a full meal. I was very not overly full or anything, but usually when I get home from work, I'm feeling like I could have a little snack. But after having that drink and the little thing of peanuts several hours earlier, I was like, oh, okay, I can, I'm fine. I don't need to eat anything. So that was a good change.
We don't need as many calories as we think. If you look at the longevity studies, people who consume about 1,000 calories a day live the longest because
Really?
they're not overfeeding, they're not stressing their bodies out. And when you overfeed, what happens is you start to fill out with fat. And the fat cells are where the toxins go. So you've got extra fat means extra toxins that stresses your heart, that causes cancer, that constricts your vessels because those extra calories are usually not coming from blueberries and those things. The extra
Right.
calories are usually the high fat, high carb, high processed foods, high sugar foods that people are eating. So as we get older, we need less. I'm going to be 53 this year. I'm active. I'm really active, but I can't eat as much as I ate when I was 23 because you can as you get older. So you need less, and it's more important than ever that everything you eat is super nourishing. Because when you're 23, it could be a little more forgiving, but as you get older, you want everything to function optimally. You want your metabolism fast. You want your hormones regulated. Because with age, we lose testosterone, and metabolisms typically slow down even when you're active.
Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting that when I was intermittent fasting, when I looked at unhealthy things, it had no appeal to me. It was like I don't want to put that in me. It's not like uh I don't know, the urge of wanting that sensation isn't there anymore. It's a very strange thing. Is that some kind of scientific thing that's happening in our bodies that we're denying ourselves, so therefore we're turned off to things that would hurt us?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing when I first start working with clients and let's say they drink a lot of soda and I suggest that they start to wean off and quit soda and they're like, "No way, I'll never do it. I love soda." But eventually they do because they're feeling so good and then the soda starts not to taste good and when they drink soda they realize like, "Wow, I feel like I'm drugged." I just notice a big difference. And then if they go for a long stretch without having soda and then they just happen to have one, one night, they feel it hits them like cocaine almost, like their brains light up and they feel sleepy and it definitely will hit your system. And a lot of it becomes identity. So it's who you become. So I'm a healthy guy who works out and does intermittent fasting. And it's not a temptation for you to want to go through the drive-through and get a big burger and fries. It becomes like, ugh, it's almost like that's gross. Maybe the old me did that at some point, but the new me is healthy and I'm not even attracted to that anymore. And it happens usually over time. For some people, it's an event. They have a scare, like a heart attack or a cancer diagnosis, or even someone that they know and love who has a diagnosis, and that gets them to start making better decisions. And that's when you'll see people cold turkey, stop alcohol, stop cigarettes, because you can't separate the body, mind, and the spirit. So something got their attention, and some people can do it in a moment like that. Doesn't mean your body's not physiologically going to have those withdrawals. You may, but you can get through it because it just becomes your identity that I'm not going to be a smoker. I'm not going to be someone who eats, fast food all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. The identity, what do I identify as eating? When we are on a Friday night at 7 o'clock and we go to the couch and we have our favorite bag of chips or cookies or whatever, that's something that builds habit. And it's little things. Like I said, I used to intermittent fast. I was working out a lot. Now circumstances have changed. I've moved. I have a different work schedule now, very different. So I can't do the things that I was doing at that time. And even podcasting, it takes away from my ability to do other things that I wanted to do. But it is that hasn't really changed as much as my dietary choices have changed. And that has what not that it hasn't changed, the negative effects, I mean, is that I have little by little, I've changed, like, okay, I didn't eat snacks before, or if I did, it would be beef jerky, or it would be nuts. I'm not a big fan of nuts, but I'll eat nuts if I wanted a snack. Trail mix is something I would like to have. Raisins is something I like. But then it's little by little, it's chocolate covered raisins, and then it's chips instead of beef jerky. And little by little, then I put on some weight, and then I get more lethargic. And 3 months later, it's like I'm a whole new person. I have a whole new identity almost. And now I got to combat all that stuff that I thought that I was done with. And, it's back. So now I got to deal with it in this way.
Yeah, so a lot of times it's a slow fade, like you're talking about. It starts out with nuts, and then it goes to trail mix, and then it's chocolate covered nuts, and so it starts out with, oh, I'm just gonna buy a single serving of ice cream, and then it's a pint, and then it's a gallon, and then next thing you know, you're buying 2 gallons, and it could be wine, it could be whatever, and our bodies are designed to be addicted, and ultimately we're designed to be addicted to God, and anything else that we're trying to put in that place is never going to fill it. No amount of food, alcohol, pornography. I mean, we're supposed to be addicted to him. So we try and fill whatever lack there is, if it's emotional, physical, whatever it is, with something that's going to be subpar. So it's good to really catch that and be aware and make a decision. So, what if your listeners started saying, I quit sugar. I gave up sugar. I don't eat sugar. Every single person is capable of giving up sugar if they decide and if they pursue it. Are you going to be perfect? No. Does it mean you can never have ice cream again? No. But if most of the time you just gave up sugar, that alone could change anyone's health tremendously. And so maybe you're used to, going through the checkout line and grabbing a bag of peanut M&Ms, and you just stop doing that and you grab a water. Or you substitute it for an apple or something else healthier. It's a choice, it's a decision. And is it perfect? No, it doesn't need to be perfect. But if 80% of the time you didn't choose sugar and chose nothing or water or substitute it for something better, you'd be healthier.
Yeah, if you make a better decision this time than you did last time, every time, then you're always going to be improving, always going to be bettering yourself, because there's always, like you said, there's going to be those times where, okay, I do this out of habit and I'm grabbing these peanut M&Ms because they're appealing, because I grab them all the time. And so they're there. Now I'm going to eat them. And when we make a better decision now, okay, I'm not going to get that. I'm going to switch it for this. Well, then that becomes habit. And it's a process, of course, but I was 280 pounds. I
Wow.
and I gave up sugar, and the first 30 days I lost 30 pounds. I was an over the road truck driver, so I was still only sitting down. I wasn't exercising or even delivering the stuff. And I lost 30 pounds by switching from soda and milkshakes into water, and even vitamin water, zero G2 Gatorades, or the 0 calorie packets that you put in the water bottle. Those types of things I switched, and not necessarily that stuff is even healthy, but it was just the complete switching from a sugar filled drinks to no sugar drinks, and I lost 30 pounds in a month by sitting down, and I did no exercise.
Wow. Yeah. And sometimes you need to just make that one better choice, and make it more gradual. So you don't have to do something so drastic. And then you're getting headaches and withdrawals and you're hangry and cranky. And, just make one better choice. Swap out one soda for water if you're drinking 3 a day, go down to 2. And it doesn't have to be something so drastic, because then you may just quit if it's too much. And, I've had clients come in, they're like, I'm going to quit smoking, quit drinking, start exercising, but, and they're setting themselves up for failure. So pick one
Exactly.
thing, the thing you're ready to start with, and start there, and, give yourself some grace, do the best you can, get accountability, get support, use an app, get a group, something to keep you accountable and keep going. Find out what really motivates you, set up some rewards. All those little things, they really do make a difference, and they help. They help. And your body is so amazing that it's going to respond. And when you start to feel better, sitting in your truck and your clothes are getting looser and your brain health is better and you're more alert and you're sleeping better. And I mean, even inflammation will go down in your eyes and you'll be able to see better. And there's just, our bodies are so incredible. Your joints don't hurt and you bounce out of bed and you're rested. Your body's going to respond when you do something great. And also the other way, if you go out and get drunk one night, when you wake up the next morning, you're going to pay for it. Your body's going to respond. But when you start noticing like, wow, I think I'm even happier. Like there's a bounce in my step because I weigh less and I feel better and I'm sleeping good. That's the cool thing about how amazing your body is and how well it responds.
Yeah, and that is leading us perfectly into what I want to talk about next, which is sleep. And for me, I was always so tired. When I was a teenager, I could have slept for 14 hours and still been tired. And then I would get up, and I had been a drug addict at the time. I was taking Percocet, all types of opiates, and it would like perk me up. That was my pick me up, if you will. Whereas when I got healthy, I would drink coffee. So when I got out of prison, first I would drink coffee right away. I had to down a cup and then I would have a second cup every morning. And then I switched that to, okay, let me drink a whole lot of water first and then I'll drink some coffee. And doing that, it very much changed what I needed to get me going in the morning, which I think had an effect on me going to sleep at night, which was then an effect in the morning, the following morning. So, what when someone is not sleeping well, is there a specific thing that, or one general thing that sticks out as to why they're not sleeping well?
Yeah, a bunch of reasons. I mean, sleep is a trillion-dollar industry. It is big business because people are not doing what's natural. So the natural things are to decide when you want to go to sleep and then start to work backwards so that you're leaving in this stimulated awake state and starting to move into leaving awake, moving into a sleep state. So that means turn off the lights or dim the lights, get away from technology, get away from stimulation, and start to do things that tune your body down. So turn on some lavender candles, take a lavender bath, spray some lavender scent, drink some chamomile tea, start to journal your thoughts. Gratitude is an awesome thing to do at night, but also keep a notebook by your bed. So if there are any thoughts as you're getting in bed, you can write them down. Um, that's not a time at night to call someone who might upset you. Like you want to do calming things, meditation, prayer, worship, things that can really wind you down and leave your day in a good way. Make sure your bedroom has a cool temperature. You have good bedding. Your sheets are comfortable. Your mattress is, firm and a comfortable place. Your room is as dark as possible. Your room is cool. Your room is quiet. You really need to set yourself up for good sleeping conditions. So if your room has, TV and lights and you're keeping your phone by your bed and it's noisy or light is coming in, all of those things take away from your sleep. And people are keeping their phones right in their face. And when they can't fall asleep, they pick the phone back up. And now that light is affecting your brain. Your brain doesn't know that it's sleep time because light is coming into your eyes. So that keeps your brain from shutting down. And then depending on what you're looking at on your phone, that gets your brain going. So reading is a great thing to do at night that quiets your brain. That makes a lot of people sleepy when they read. And then if you do wake up, try and fall back to sleep. Don't get up out of bed if you don't have to. Don't eat 3 hours before bed. Try not to drink a lot before bed. I mean, maybe a little cup of tea and then, go to the bathroom right before you get in bed. All those things will help you to fall asleep and stay asleep because it's during the REM sleep that you're getting that deep sleep and it brings the melatonin out in your body, which is like your body's garbage truck. So that's a chance for the melatonin to come out and like clean up the toxins from the day. If you're not getting that deep sleep, then your body's going to be more toxic. You're going to wake up not rested in a fog. And then that just starts a day of feeling lethargic and brain fog and all of that. And the people who are using prescription or even over the counter medications to fall asleep, that's sort of a false way to fall asleep. And then they're not waking up alert in the morning. In fact, the incidence of car accidents are increasingly high in the last 2 decades where people are using sleeping pills because they're not fully alert in a way. It's unnatural. We need to go back to God created us to go to bed when it got dark and wake up when it got light. And maybe that's not realistic for everyone all year long. But ideally, 7 hours of sleep is what most people need. Some can go on a little bit less, some need a little more. It would be most excellent if you can just listen to your body and, wake up naturally. We know people, need to get up and go to work, but try to do what is natural when it comes to your sleep.
Okay. Is there a specific way that you like to fall asleep? If someone has trouble falling asleep other than reading, I'll say for me, me and Mimi, my girlfriend, we sometimes put on tunes, not tunes, tones, different, healing tones that are just like meditative things that are in the background. It really just focusing on that really helps my mind stop running when it is running, and I can just fall asleep.
Yes, yes. So the binaural beats are
Yeah.
awesome. I use the 528 megahertz because that's actually for love and it's a healing tone. So people can use that. Some people will use a sound machine and they like, waves or wind or something like that. Another is breath work because the breathing can lower your nervous system and get your body to calm down and release tension. So you can do it, sort of a head to toe meditation where you're going from your skull and literally go down every part of your body, release. Because some people are so just ramped up from the day that they don't even realize they're grinding their teeth and clenching their fists. Just go up and down your body and muscle by muscle, just relax and then do some of that breath work. A great sleeping position is to actually be on your side and have a king size pillow that goes between your ankles and your knees, and then another one that's under your head and your arms so that you're supported. And it's great for your organs that way, for breathing. It's great for your spine and your muscles to rest if you can do side sleeping. And if you're sleeping on your back, then feet a little elevated on a pillow would be good. Stomach sleeping is not the greatest for breathing or for detoxification or for your organs. So those things help. I like to pray, before I go to bed. I fill a page of a gratitude journal every single night where I just review my day and write down all the things that I'm thankful for. So it helps to go to bed, with that kind of peace and gratitude. And then I'll pray as I'm falling asleep for dreams and visions. I'll ask as I'm sleeping to, have dreams revealed to me. And that helps me also to fall asleep, just going to bed in prayer and gratitude.
Okay, that's interesting. I have asked for dreams before, and I've had some very wild dreams. I mean, God answers your prayers, and not exactly in the way that we always ask for it, but when you're direct like that, you'll get it. You just
Yeah,
got to
and then
keep
you can
asking.
remember them too, because we all have them. We just don't always
Right.
remember them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's what I would ask at different times was, can you please allow me to remember my dreams? And then I come back and, I wake up the next morning or whatever, and it's like, whoa, I just had a wild dream. I had some really crazy dreams not too long ago. I was having a dream where these two guys were like trying to get me to give them my daughter, and I was like, "No," and I prayed in my dream. I said, "Jesus, can you please save me?" And safes, big man-sized safes fell out of the sky and squashed these guys, and it was like Jesus was keeping me safe, and it
I
it
love
was
it.
just so symbolic. It was amazing. So,
So good.
even in our dreams, our prayers are answered. So, I love everything you were saying with that. So, now on the reverse side, when people wake up, is there specific things they can do to get themselves going in a nice, natural, energetic way? Like I said, I had to drink coffee to be awake to then I drank water, and over time, I felt way better by drinking the water. Is there, certain things that people can do to keep to get themselves up in a more natural way that won't keep them prolonged from going to sleep the next night?
Yes. So there are definitely morning routines that are so important. And if you study success habits of what the world would call super achievers, people who really are productive and healthy, there are definitely things that they do in the morning. One of the things that I do is if I need to wake up at a certain time for an appointment, I wake up 2 hours before that first appointment. So I have a 2 hour morning routine. And the first thing that I do is, I'll wake up naturally, but I'll set a timer for 8 minutes and I'll just lay there for 8 minutes and pray and breathe for the first 8 minutes. And then I don't look at my phone, for the first 2 hours. I will listen to sermons and worship music and podcasts if I'm, when I'm doing my cardio. But I will breathe. I'll drink water with lemon. And then I'm usually doing some cardio and listening to a sermon. I will write down my goals for the day and review them. That helps me to, stay on task and stay focused, but I'm also really open. So I submit my day to God every day, like here I am, here's my cell phone, here's my car keys, here's my computer, you know, your plan is better than my plan kind of thing. So I leave my day open to what might come up to be the hands and feet of Jesus. So I do that every morning. So God knows like that's his plan is better. Um, I'm staying hydrated with, things like collagen drinks and keto drinks. And I'll do some meditation, just quiet my mind and be open and really relaxed and calm. And then it's always good just to take your shoes off and get outside, even for 5 minutes. Go walk around in the grass, in the dirt. I have a pond out back, so I get by water and I just will, take a lap around the pond and, at least get in nature, get a little vitamin D and do a prayer walk for the day. And all those things definitely help.
Okay, very good. I love that. Now, so for supplements, vitamins and supplements, are there any downfalls to taking vitamins and supplements? I've heard that maybe if we get used to getting it from a pill, that our bodies won't make it as often or as efficient as we if we just let it occur naturally. Is there a downside to taking those things?
Well, the vitamin and minerals, I mean, they are the supplement, which means the extra. So ideally, we should be able to get all the nourishment and nutrition that we need from real foods. But the reality is, number one, people's diets are not that great, but also the quality of our food has gone down significantly. I mean, today, one of the first things I had was an omelet with spinach. Well, if I look at the spinach I ate today compared to the spinach my grandmother had, it has a lot less vitamin K. I mean, all the vitamins and minerals. It's just depleted compared to 70 years ago, 100 years ago. So because of that, I may need to supplement. I may need some vitamin D or zinc. The best thing to do is get tested. So see, I mean, if everything is within a normal range, then awesome. But if your zinc is low, I would say go find foods that have zinc in it. If your D is low, go find foods that have D and eat those things. Or you could add a supplement if there are foods you don't like or can't get enough of or can't get a quality. So I always look at supplements as the extra. And there are times where I'll just mix a green drink because it's a day where I'm busy and it's convenient and I'm not getting enough greens in for the day. Or if someone feels like they've got a cold coming on and they want to get in some extra things to boost their immunity, you might supplement with zinc, echinacea, colostrum, vitamin C. Those are all immunity boosting things. So it really just depends on, I say start with your blood work and don't guess. Otherwise, you're like, oh, I think I'll take this and this. And then you could be wasting your money, making really expensive urine. And the other thing is you want to make sure your body absorbs it. So if you're going to take a supplement, I'm really a fan of a quality supplement. Don't just, necessarily go to, let's say, Walmart and grab their vitamins. You want to make sure that, it's good quality and that your body's absorbing it. So, there are things that are good. For example, my son's a baseball player, and right now his allergies are, he's in West Texas and everything's blooming. And so he will take an omega, a probiotic, and a men's multivitamin for, maybe a month or two because his allergies he's suffering. So that's something that he can do to combat allergies. And it really all has to do with gut health. So
Okay.
it just depends on, your situation. I'm not saying, go to GNC and load up on everything. You have to, like anything else, exercise common sense. But there are some things that people just need because they are either sick, already having disease, and this can help to improve them by supplementing. So you're getting extra. Your body might need extra because it's, diseased or lacking or not absorbing. So it's always good to, check in with the blood work. That really tells everything.
All right. I love that. I've been taking vitamin D. I take some different things at different times. But vitamin D is something that I've been sticking with for quite a while. I don't know that I mean, I guess it's working because I feel great, but I don't know that it's something that I need to continually do if I'm going to be out in the sun more now that the summer's here, or spring's here, and I'm going to be outside all the time. Is it going to? Uh, can that be a something that I don't know gets too high that I'm doing too much of it if I'm outside all the time? If I'm taking in vitamin D elsewhere, should I not be taking the supplement?
Well, vitamin D could definitely be something that's seasonal. So in the winter, when we're not getting as much sunlight, and we're just not even outside as much, you might take vitamin D, but you might need less in the summer because you are outside, because there is more sunlight. So you might not need it in the summer. I know people with darker hair, they tend to need more vitamin D than people who are more fair skinned and lighter hair. They can absorb the D better. So again, it's one of those things that it depends. Could you hurt yourself, continuing vitamin D year round? Not really. If you're just taking, one a day, that's, probably a pretty reasonable prescription unless you have reason to believe you're, over supplementing in vitamin D. It's really not harmful.
Okay, very great, very great. Okay, so detoxing, is there when we're talking about, parasitic detox or just detoxing anything out of your body, is there any specific things that you go to or any specific things you stay away from?
Yeah, well, the intermittent fasting, we talked about the 16 and 8 as one of the windows. One day a week, you could actually go 24 hours. And so still nourish your body with all the fluids, like we talked about the aloe water and collagen and all of that, but stay away from solids for 24 hours. So that gives your body a chance to not be digesting a piece of steak, for example, which, that's got a rot in your gut and that takes a lot from your body to do that. And in that 24 hours, you can increase the human growth hormone, but also something called autophagy, which is getting rid of old dead cells. So they're in our body, they're dying off all the time, but we may not get rid of them because we're not giving our bodies a chance because we're either eating too much or we're so stressed out or we're not exercising. So doing a fast once a week for 24 hours with liquids, again, check with your doctor. If you have health issues, you may not want to do that, but that's one way to detox naturally. And then some people will do 2 days a month where they'll, start at night and they'll go all the next day until the following afternoon. So a 24-hour type fast. And again, it goes deeper and it helps to get your hormones regulated naturally. And then when you talk about like a parasite fast, I would say, get a test that shows, do you have parasites? And a lot of us do, but we need some. So there's healthy levels. If your parasites are unhealthy, people who go out of the country that happens to, or, people who eat too much fish, they could have parasites. There are parasite cleanses that you can do. But again, I wouldn't just randomly walk into a health food store and pick a parasite detox. I would go to like a naturopathic pharmacy and get they do a stool test to see what the parasites are if you have them. So there are cleanse drinks that people can drink that help to sustain them over a cleansing period. So they're still being nourished, that help with elimination, things like magnesium, which help you to eliminate things in your colon. So there are a bunch of different cleanses, but the fasting is a great way to do it naturally. And then if you need, you can add some things to help you along, like magnesium.
Okay, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, so as we're winding down here now, I don't know if you heard recently that there's the rumor the president has said that we may have food shortages coming in the near future. Are there certain foods that we can eat that are easily attainable, that are sustaining to us, that will make it easier to do this intermittent fasting or to do a 24-hour fasting? Are there certain things you need to do before you step into that realm so that you're prepared for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm in several groups that have, these end time prep people. And, I hate to live that way, but at the same time, I'm a single woman who lives alone. I don't want to be here without any food either. I also don't want to have to eat spam. If it means, I've got to live on spam, I don't really want to live on that. So I have started stocking up on things like almond butter, rice, things that are, not perishable, but will last a long time in my pantry, soup mixes, beans, things like that, will last a long time, that are healthy and hearty. I don't eat a lot of things out of a can, but I bought a few things that if I needed to. The best is actually frozen. If we still have power and you have refrigeration and you can keep things frozen, I would start stocking up. I have stocked up on vegetables, frozen fruit, and even a couple of organic frozen meals so that I have a complete meal. So it can't hurt to do that. Let's hope we have power. I did buy a generator as well so that I could go for a while with a solar generator if I needed to. And I would know people who also have a good supply of things. There are companies that you can go and buy these things and stock them up in your closet that don't have to be refrigerated. But yeah, those are the things like almond butter, peanut butter, rice that you can store for a while, and canned goods like beans.
Okay. All right. So I'm glad that you're up to date on everything in your different groups. It's seemingly we're in a place where we absolutely need to be, uh, finger on the pulse of things. Mimi and I are getting a food forest installed here from Food Forest Abundance. They're coming in the next, I hope, 2 weeks or so. And we want to be able to grow our own food. We're starting to learn how to do some homesteading so that she's been in all these classes, Zoom classes, and learning how to can her own stuff and ferment different things. And we're really trying to make sure that we can be prepared. I mean, I think that many people have seen this coming since 2 years ago. That people have really started going this way, and now that it's hitting the mainstream the way it is, I feel it's important, especially uh, at this moment, which is why I wanted to bring you on and talk about the nutrition, the eating, the diet, the exercise. I think it's very important for our audience to know that these are necessary steps, and especially how you laid it out there, that it's a step by step process. You're not going to all of a sudden I can fast for 24 hours tomorrow. You have to work your way there. So I really appreciate you coming on and bringing this knowledge, and I hope that everyone listens to this and starts to change their own life.
I agree. I mean, we have one body. And if you think about, Jesus didn't get mad a lot of times in the time he was here on earth, and in the New Testament stories. There's only a few times where he got angry, but one of the times was when he walked into the temple. And our bodies represent God's temple. I mean, this is our earthly temple. We're given one. We get one chance with this body. And while it is amazing, if we abuse it, we're going to cut our time short, or at least keep ourselves from living the fullest, most amazing life with the good plans that God has on it, because we're too tired or too, spaced out. And Jesus got upset when he walked in and he said, "You're treating my father's house like a den of thieves." So you're stealing from your body by not nourishing it or putting bad things into it. And we're supposed to take care of it. We're supposed to treasure it. We're supposed to treat it well. So that's our job. I mean, there's a lot of things we can't control in this world, way more than we can control. But one of the things we can control is what we put past our lips. And, a lot of times we can control our sleep. We can control our thoughts and our beliefs. So we have to let go of the things we can't, but wake up every day and be the best you that you can be. Your spirit is perfect. So that just goes without saying. I mean, we have a perfect spirit that lives in us. So it's lining up our body and our mind as righteous as we can, and just waking up and be available and be well every single day. So that's part of our discipleship.
Yeah, it really is. What we have to do, like he lives in between the two temples, right? He lives inside of us, and we have to make sure that the house is clean, is prepared for him. It's, Easter's right around the corner. No false idols, no, and like you're saying, it's also metaphorical for the stuff that's you're putting in your body by eating and consuming in whatever way, drinking, your TV, your like you were saying with the computer, the cell phone, all that different stuff that's coming into the temple of God. We have to really be careful of what we're putting in ourselves. We
Yes,
can't just be willy-nilly.
I agree. And even, it's not all so serious. Like Jesus laughed. He was childlike, and we're called to be childlike. And so it's not all about being so intense and so serious about every little thing, but laughter is medicine. And that's a great stress reliever. So do some fun things like lighten up, and just, laughing stimulates your organs. It relaxes your body. It increases your circulation, and it actually relieves pain. It releases endorphins. It helps people cope and helps people feel connected when they laugh. And so that's a great mood booster. And a health tip is every day, do something to laugh, make someone laugh. I like to listen to dry bar comedy. So even at night, just for 15 minutes, I'll turn on one of the comedians, and it's clean, family friendly comedy. But the dog looks at me like I'm crazy. Like I'm just laughing out loud, and it feels good, and it relaxes you.
Well, it's awesome that you said that about Jesus, because today I was listening to music, worship music, and I just had the thought. I was like, remember when I was a kid and like someone would say my name, not my name, but the name that I have on TV in a movie or in a song. You're like, "Oh, they said my name." And Jesus is like, "Yeah, how do you think I feel?" And then I saw him like rocking out. He had headphones on it, and he's like, "Oh, they're talking about me," and he was so excited dancing, and it just had me laughing, and
He
it
is
was
funny. He is
yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, it was a good old time. It just pops in my head out of nowhere. I'm just driving down the road and I have that thought, and Jesus is like, "Yeah, what do you think? Why do you think I want my name being talked about in the music?" If people say that I'm selfish, no, I like hearing my name. You like hearing your name, so why couldn't I like hearing my name?
That's right. Name above all names.
Uh, Amen to that. So last question for you about the nutrients that we get. Can the sun give us nutrients that, if we run out of food or if we don't have proper food, can we be out in the sun for a certain time, or I mean, at a certain time or for a certain amount of time, that would give us some nutrients that could replace or in place of the lack of food?
Well, the sun definitely gives us vitamin D. We have to be careful of overexposure to the sun, because that could actually be dehydrating. We could burn our skin. It could be a carcinogen. So we have to balance it out. It is good to be outside. It is good to be in nature. And the sun is part of, photosynthesis. And God created everything in a breath, and it all is natural, and it all sustains itself. And so when he put us in the Garden of Eden, way back in the beginning, every single need was met, and Adam and Eve didn't have to toil over it. So the trees were there, the animals were there were eggs, there were, everything was just right there. And that included the sun. So spending time outside in nature, and the sun is watering the plants, and so it's all part of his design. But spending too much, I mean, if we had no food, could you spend time in the sun and that sustain you? Not alone. And you need to, balance it out, because you wouldn't want to spend too much time in the sun, because it will dehydrate you, and it will cause skin cancer, and it will cause sweating, which that means you're losing nutrients when you're sweating too much. So that will not do it. Water is definitely the most important thing. We can go way longer without food than water. There are filters like a Berkey filter, where if we really didn't have water, you could take this filter and take pond water, and it makes it drinkable. So people might consider getting those filters if they're really prepping for things getting bad. And I have a lot of friends who have bought land with ponds on the land, and they've got, shelters and gun safes and just, storages filled with food, who really think if things get bad and they need to move their entire family out there, that they could use these filters, and they've got wells in place with the ponds out there to get water.
That's a very smart idea. Have you ever done sun gazing?
Um, well, tell me what you mean by sun gazing.
So when the sun is rising or setting, it's at a point in the sky where you can stare at the sun, and it's not going to damage your eyes the way it would if it's way up in the sky, and it can give you uh, healing properties. It brings in it actually can heal your eyes if your eyes are injured, all sorts of different stuff like that.
I am really blessed to have seen some amazing sunrises and sunsets. I have not been intentional about doing that. I will tell you, last night I was at the Hillsong and Chris Tomlin concert in Dallas. And what's happening is a lot of people who are going to these concerts are actually getting seizures, and even Disney movies, from the strobe lights. So I'm super protective of my eyes. So I actually had glasses on at the concert. I don't have oh yeah, I do. When I'm staring at the computer for hours, I protect my eyes with these. I thankfully don't need vision correction, but the blue blocker glasses. So I will definitely check into that a little bit more. And, God created us to enjoy the beautiful artwork of his sunrises and sunsets. So I usually walk every day at sunset. So I will be more intentional about that.
Okay, yeah. What I do is I sit there and I look at the sun and I lock eyes with it, and I will just like pull the energy into me that the sun is giving off. And even if it's too bright for you, if you have your eyes closed but you're still facing it, you can still like kind of see what even when your eyes are closed. I like doing that as well. And anyone starting out, because the sun is bright and it will hurt your eyes. But I've gotten to a point where now I can look at it when it's high up in the sky, and it's I don't know that it's hurting my eyes or not hurting my eyes, but I can still see no problem. So it's a very interesting thing. You can like train your eyes to look at the sun longer. So when I'm driving to work and it's sunrise and everyone else is slamming on their brakes because they can't see, I'm like, nope, I'm cool. I'm just driving it right along.
I love that. Well, it's like anything else, you can train your body. So you can't just start day one staring at the sun, but little by
Right.
little over time, you can train yourself to be able to do that. So I'm going to read up on that and study that a little bit more, and I'll get back to you on it.
Yeah, well, there's an allegedly well, this was some years ago that I heard this, that there was a 97-year-old man who hadn't eaten in 3 years because he just went and sun gazed every sunrise and sunset, and that was the nutrients he was taking in, and he was obviously drinking water, but for 3 years he was doing that. So this was, it's alleged, it's a story that I heard, but it's interesting.
Well, if you look at monks, I mean, they go for long stretches, and even some yogis without eating, and they actually glow. If you've ever met a monk in person, because they've spent so much time, taking in light, the light of the Holy Spirit, the light of the sun, and not eating, your body can focus on, you're not eating things from the ground. So because you're not eating pork and, meat, those things pull you down more to earth, when if you're not eating, you're actually lighter in every way. I've been on retreats with people, and at every meal, as we're praying over the food, right before, we would just take a couple of minutes, about 2 minutes, and stare into our partner's eyes. And what I noticed, that every day that went by for the 5 days, her eyes got lighter. So it was like the light on the inside was just glowing so much brighter. And we did have a full day of fasting, and we were eating very healthy, and we were eating lighter too. So your body is incredible and amazing. I imagine, if Jesus were here now walking on the earth, he would have a glow about him. He would definitely have, this light that shined from him. And I would say it comes from the sun and from the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. That's must be intense just staring, having an eye staring contest
It is. Yeah,
before
you
you
and
eat.
Mimi should try it. You will come to tears because you'll start to see her the way Christ sees her. And
All right.
just to sit there and to consider someone, like look in their eyes for 2 minutes, you'll just start to weep because you'll see her like you've never seen her before.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for that. I will definitely give that a shot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and watch what happens to each other's eyes over, the course of a week. Her eyes will get lighter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're gonna document it. I'm gonna take a drawing. I'm not a very good artist, but I'm gonna draw the different shades that I see and see if it gets lighter.
Yeah, or take a picture. Use your camera.
Okay. There you go. That is always a good choice. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on here that you wanted to get out?
I would say, while we're talking about health, the importance of celebration. We're in a time in the world where there's a lot of struggle, there's a lot of hardness, there's a lot of darkness. I mean, there's people with mental illness, there's people committing suicide, there's, just all kinds of stuff. And we talked about laughter, but I would just say be intentional about celebrating. There are good things. And it just helps to have something to look forward to. It helps to celebrate your successes, no matter how small they are. You bring other people into your joy when you celebrate with them. You acknowledge things instead of just, keeping going on to the next thing. People will burn out. So it fuels your heart, it fuels your success. It helps you reflect by celebrating, and definitely, helps your mindset to keep going. It gets the endorphins going, and just a lot of good emotions and good habits come from celebrating. So that's a part of your health. So as you set goals to maybe eat better or sleep better, whatever it might be, take time to stop and celebrate the wins, no matter how small they are, and enjoy it.
All right. I love that. So, can you let the audience know where they can find you?
Absolutely. So my name and all the places. So kellicalabrese.com is the website. Facebook, Kelli Calabrese, LinkedIn, Instagram. They can find me at all those places. And they can email me. I love to hear from your listeners, kelly@kellicalabrese.com. I will respond to every single email. If there's something you heard that, touched you in some way, or you have some question, I'd love to hear from you.
I suggest you guys do it. Kelly is amazing. This is the second time I've had her on, and again, she doesn't disappoint. She has so much knowledge, and she has so many different things that we could talk about. So I want to thank you so much for coming on. And final question for you. I think I probably asked you this last time, but what is your go-to grounding technique? In this crazy world that everything is in chaos, how do you find peace?
That is a great question. My life scripture is trust God and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. So, my question is always, am I trusting Him? Am I trusting Him? And that really helps to keep me grounded, to keep my stress down. I do move my body every day. I mean, I'm a clinical exercise physiologist. So, for me, the physical part really helps me as well to keep me grounded, just to move. Strength training, cardio, stretching, yoga. I never regret a workout. I always feel better after. So getting the physical with the emotional and then sealing it with the word is a great way to just stay in peace.
All right, Proverbs 3:5. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah, don't rely on your own understanding.
Yes.
All right. Well, everybody, make sure you stay tuned for the outro, and we'll see you there. Bye for now.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, welcome to the outro. Thank you all for being here, for sticking around to hear me by myself just talk away. If you haven't already, could you please like, comment, share, subscribe, rate, and review? I know that there's a lot of people out there, and there are more of you listening than I've gotten reviews for. So if you could please, it does help the show. It really it makes it more suggestible when people are searching for podcasts and they don't know what to come across. It would really greatly benefit the show. and we're at over 28,000 downloads now, which is probably even more because another podcast host site wanted me to go to them, and they had like 6,000 more downloads than the one that I see has. Plus, there's all the plays that aren't counted in the downloads. So the show is definitely growing, and it is thanks to you guys who are liking, sharing, commenting, rating, and reviewing. Even though, the algorithms are the way that they are, we can definitely beat them. And you guys just manually doing all that stuff, it really does help. So thank you all for doing that. Make sure you check out our guest's website, kellicalabrese.com. Also, intentionallyfabulous.com. Go check out all that stuff. Email her, kelly@kellicalabrese.com. Become a Patreon member, patreon.com/goodness over darkness. And oh yeah, I forgot my website, emmanuelkingman.com. I have a lot of stuff there, the blog, the photos, so many different things. So yeah, make sure you go to my website as well. All right, so now I want to talk about today's episode a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of information in there to get you guys on the right path, on track for what is coming down the pike. We all know that there's stuff happening in the world. I mean, none of my listeners are surprised at that. But you have to begin to prepare yourself. This isn't just a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is, but it is to help you get on the path that is going to be most beneficial for yourself. There is a lot of great information in here. Kelli, she's she's a woman of Christ, a great woman of Christ, and she has so much knowledge about the human body and how you can guide it and protect it and how you can use it to your advantage. So please do yourselves a favor and start to change your diet to be more beneficial, because we don't know when we're going to have food shortages. We don't know when we're going to be without electricity, if that ever occurs. We don't know when, but we know that at some point it's likely to happen. So if you are preparing yourself by taking care of yourself and doing the things now, then when it hits, you're going to be okay. If you and your family know how to intermittent fast, if you know how to do all the gardening that you need to do, homesteading, if you know how to put the right nutrients in your body, if you know how to exercise properly, if you know how to sleep properly, well, those things are going to very much benefit you and support you, rather than if this is just all of a sudden it's a freak incident and people start freaking out and they don't know what to do. Well, then they're not going to be sleeping very well. They're not going to be prepared for anything. Their mind's going to be racing. So I want everyone to be prepared for what is coming. So all you got to do is just start somewhere. Wherever you are, just start and make a better decision every time a decision comes to you. Every little decision, make a better decision than you made last time. If you do that, I guarantee you're going to be a better person. You're going to like yourself more. You're going to have others like you more. You're going to have more appreciation for things people have been through, because you're going to better yourself. If you reflect on things constantly and you are making better decisions constantly, then you're going to become a better person, an objectively better person. It's not a subjective thing, it's going to be objective, which means everybody can say it. That it's not just true in one person's eyes, it's true in everybody's eyes. Everyone has the capability of doing that, and it starts with making decisions now. So please do that. while I love doing this podcast, it's super entertaining for me. It's very fun. I love being able to speak to all the people that I do. It's also for the benefit of those who I am reaching. And I really love hearing back from all of you. I hear a lot of times when I do hear back from people, they say, "Oh, well, I didn't want to burden you. I thought you were too busy," which I am busy, but I love hearing back from you guys. Send me DMs, send me emails, telling me that my podcast episode was speaking to you and you needed to hear that. I mean, I had someone just email me earlier. I had someone send me Instagram messages. I was on the phone with someone earlier about it. I mean, those types of things, they really keep me going. They really, uh, they mean more to me than any material thing because that is what it's about. It's about connecting with you and the true person that you are. So if you guys feel the need to let me know something about the show, please, send me a DM, send me an email. I love hearing from all you guys. I haven't been getting a lot of YouTube comments lately. I don't know whether YouTube's withholding my comments or anything like that. But for a while, I was getting a lot of YouTube comments from unknown people and all sorts of stuff. And now I don't know that I'm really getting any. So I don't know why, I'm sure there's numerous reasons why, but I love hearing from you guys. So if my work means something to you guys, if it benefits you, please let me know. Just reach out and say, hey, this this was amazing. And if you think I'm too busy or that you're a burden on me, you're not. You're definitely not. I take time for everybody because I want to help everybody that I can. So, yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. Make sure you email me to be part of the Bible study. We're doing some great stuff over there on that Bible study. And whenever I can, we'll add in a second day during the week, but that'll take away from the podcast. But it's not going to be for a while now. I do want to be able to incorporate in all my UK people. I got a bunch of people in the UK that can't join it because of the time, but that's just what it is at the moment. I have to have it at the time that I have it. It's most beneficial for me. But I am going to try to change it after softball season's up. So, my daughter is playing softball, so maybe things will change after that. But send me that email uh with the subject Bible study and I'll add you to the list. It's a great time. Food Forest Abundance, check them out. If you guys just want to get the blueprint and then do the install yourself, get all the plants and mulch and dirt yourself, you can do that. But get that blueprint. They have access to things that we don't have. They have satellites, they have all sorts of algorithms. They have so many plants already in their system that they'll know is more beneficial for your area compared to other areas. Like maybe blueberries don't grow well where you're from. Well, they don't where I'm from, but we have other things like elderberry, and I think like there's like these wild blueberries. I don't know what they're called, but like switching little things like that, like, oh, okay, they're not going to do great here, but they will do better here, and they're a good substitute. They have so many different plants that they can substitute in and out that you really should look into getting a blueprint for your yard. And then if you want to have the full install done, that's what we're doing. And it should be here in a couple more weeks. So we are very excited. Mimi's been doing a lot of growing with just seasonal stuff. We're getting everything ready. Everything's budding out there in pots. Right before the show, there was 4 of us. It took us about 10 minutes to get all the pots from the porch because it was heavy rainfall and heavy winds the last few days. So there were 4 of us that took 10 minutes to get all the pots from the porch back outside into the raised bed. So make sure you guys are really doing whatever you can to grow your own food and not have to rely on someone else. It's for your own benefit, really. And it's not anything of paranoia to be prepared. It's not paranoia, it's intelligence. You know what happened 2 years ago? Everything shut down. Well, that was when everything was still in bulk, everything was still in full supply, and now the reserves have been depleted. So now another shutdown happens. Imagine what that would be like in 2 years from now. I mean, imagine what it would be like in 2 months. You know, just please pay attention to these types of episodes. Really take stock in yourself and your family and see where you can improve and become more ready. All right, well, that's going to do it. So now we will close with a prayer. So, dear God, we want to thank you for bringing us to life on this beautiful, beautiful day. We want to thank you for providing us with all the things that you provide us with. We want to thank you for all the guidance, the protection, the healing. We want to thank you for the patience, the kindness, the love that you show us on a regular basis. We want to thank you for the strengthening of friendships and connections that are being made all around the world and especially locally with everyone who affects our lives in a very real way. We want to thank you for being able to do the things that we do and be in the positions that we're in. We want to thank you for all the things that we have in our lives. It is a great honor to be able to be speaking your truth and putting your name and your word out there. And it is just the greatest thing on earth to be able to do the will of you. So thank you, my Lord. May you please guide us and protect us and heal us and keep us on the path of the straight and narrow. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. All right, everybody. We will see you on the next one. Bye.